Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unity Through Diversity, and I'm your host, Gina Anayana. Unity Through Diversity is a podcast that we acknowledge and celebrate each guest's personal story that we bring on every week. And through their personal story, we want to encourage and also want to celebrate your own uniqueness. And we want to bring in this unity through diversity, this concept in our daily life. So today, it's my honor to have my soul sister Andrea, that join me today to talk about the choices that we made in our life. And by the way, I have to just bring this up. For the first 10 minutes we start to recording this podcast that I did not hit the recording button. So thank you, my soul sister, for for accepting for who I am and for what I'm doing, and always supporting me and holding space for me. So how about you tell our audience who you are and what you do for the 30 times in last month, okay?
Gina, I love you so much.
I
am so honored to know you and to have you as my sister in this life, and to meet at this time, and to have the giggles and the
bourbon,
honest
cheers, sister,
honest communications that we have had, and to know authentically that Spirit has guided us to this point in our life to meet you, and to have us come together to do whatever it is that they are asking us to do.
I just want to bring the hummingbird back in a little bit. I drew the card this morning. I was like, hey, Spirit, show me what's the energy will be today. And it came out hummingbird. And I was shuffle the deck. I wish to have different card came out. So I'm like, no, that's it. And I was like, it literally showed me the hummingbird energy is moving, right? Like back, forth, left, right. When things doesn't go where, you can laugh at yourself a little bit. This is literally the hummingbird energy is like, how can I not press the recording button? And we were talking for 10 minutes straight, and they're like, hey, by the way, you did not press the recording button.
It was a beautiful exchange, by the way.
But here we are, we're talking about choices, right? Yeah. The every single choice we made in our lives, there's no coincidence. There might be a better version. However, where we were at that timeline, we made the best decision we could.
Right.
Now, by the way, you still haven't tell people
who I am.
What did you do? We did in the last 10 minutes, but I didn't record, so we feel like we've been on the repeating mode.
So, I am the owner and creator of Wild Wind Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. We were Wild Wind Farm, but we in this year are evolving to a much higher vibration.
Yes.
And so we are now the sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And in that we are creating a conscious community of love and compassion and welcoming of the 5D and higher. Mm-hmm. I won't stop there, because I believe this is taking us to the new earth, to creating a community that works together, that loves together, that accepts each other where we are and what we are. And it's a beautiful, beautiful exchange. As many people that have come to visit Wildwind understand, there is a magical, beautiful energy there. I've been honored. I feel honored to be the steward of this land. Yes. And recognize the sacredness of it and all that exists on it, because there we have the elementals. We have so much ancestral energy coming there, and I can't express. People would have to come and experience just what a beautiful energy that we are living in there.
Yes. I want to talk about the conscious community for a little bit, because obviously, now we know each other for a few months, but I feel like I know you for lifetimes, right?
Yes.
And I heard so many beautiful stories how people find your place without you even, doing marketing, selling. You just literally put the energy out there. People find you. Now that's very interesting because we talk about conscious community. We're not trying to compare things, but that's a concept that we try to bring into the community. What's the definition of the conscious community, or what kind of entity you try to anchor into the wild wind, this consciousness, or through you that I call he because I literally tap into the wild wind sanctuary, is a divine masculine, hold a space, allow the divine feminine to be, like express, to create, to like nurturing this energy, be playfulness, having fun. So I want to maybe, your definition of this conscious community that you are creating through you with his consciousness. We'll touch on a little bit.
That's a big question. Conscious community to me goes back to choices, right? We're talking about choosing to release the old, release the confines, to step into limitlessness, and then allow the creative energy to express that wild wind. However, in whatever form it's choosing. We do farm there. We do have a garden. The garden will evolve as well into an opportunity where we will open this to the community. We're calling this Anastasia's Garden because in the book of the Ringing Cedars of Scibilia,
yes,
Anastasia connected with the earth and with the seeds, and by placing them in her mouth, they then gave her the nutrition she needed. So we are experimenting with this philosophy that we can connect with the seed, we can communicate with our plants and have them give us a symbiotic relationship where they nurture us in the way that we need. So this is one aspect of Wildwind. Another aspect of Wildwind will be in the community, an opportunity to educate, welcome the public and those that are seeking to come to understand all that is being provided, all that is being brought to them. And we do this with workshops and opportunities for talks and communication. We want to expand with fun, with dance, with fashion shows,
yes,
with and all means of creativity that brings forth, that is spirit generated, that we are in touch with our deeper self, our higher self, and that we're expressing that in a way that brings forth that love, that deep, sacred love, divine love.
Yes. Now, when I want to like reflect back a little bit. We all know our external is our internal, right?
Yes.
So now when we see the external, which is the wild in the sanctuary, which represent is divine masculine, really, really can show up and be a leader and also a supporter and a space holder, allow the family to do the dance.
Yes.
Now that tell me also in your personal journey, at this moment of your life, is you are allowing your divine feminine come out to play, to really be loving, showing up, nurturing with the sacred, this support of your divine masculine, right?
Right.
So we actually arrived at a certain place internally and externally, they aligned.
We have to come into balance. We have to come into balance of the divine feminine and masculine. The land being the masculine, we are creating Gaia's garden, which will be the divine feminine labyrinth. We are creating and have created the divine feminine goddess teas. We are bringing forth the divine feminine in all the ways that she chooses to express.
Exactly. Through us. Now, however, we all know that before the balance happen, is the things fall apart. This is all balance of energy. and we're talking about the choices. Right now, we seems like we, internal, external. What I see from inside and outside is like you are reached to this alignment. And however, I want to bring the story kind of backtrack a little bit. We all know that through those choices, we arrived where we are today. And then we touched on a little bit before I hit the recording button. Is we're talking about that we know that sometimes we have this calling, this energy that is already there. You think about this, the land you are on right now. He was in a hand that might use this energy as purely, living, creating, for whatever purpose it is. However, this land, a certain time, he knows that you would be the next person, really pick up the energy, create. Like we all have this calling in our life, even though we do not know where and how and who we're gonna end up with, where we're gonna end up with, and how we end up with, but we have this pulling. So I want to kind of invite you to kind of like, hey, look back a little bit, try to find this little bit of this, how to say that, like you trace back to see this little bit, this track of actually this the sign that he's calling you through this critical of choices. Because if you didn't make a series of choices, you will not arrive here. You will be somewhere else, right? So what are those important choices point in your life? Now, before we do that, I would invite you to the last one, because it will show you like one by one, yes. Right? So when we look back, we probably won't be able to from, dot 10 to dot 1. We only can backtrack to, dot 10 for 9 and 8. Oh, then you're like, oh, actually it's connected with dot 2. So I think that's very interesting, because now we have a picture of what you're creating, but we never know how much it take you to get here. Yeah. That's the point.
If I had to think about it, I can see where in the last 12 years, maybe longer, I could see the path easily.
Yes.
Going back further, back to my youth, I could see my love and connection with nature.
How old were you?
I had to be 10.
Okay.
We moved from a suburban area on Long Island to a country setting. Rural, very rural, with a ravine and a creek and woods and forests.
Yes.
And that was my playground. And I was so connected, and I could feel the indigenous ancestors around me. I would lay down by the creek and play with the crayfish and pick up every fossil. Every rock was a fossil, and I could feel the energy, and I loved being there, and the peace that would fall on me was beautiful.
Yes.
Did I know it was going to lead me to this place?
But it could be the anchor point when you get to the land and you drive into the peace land, and you're like, I know this feeling. It's because the younger version, 10, 12 years old of you, that's like, like I would say in the subconscious.
Yes.
It's not in your conscious level. It's in your subconscious. You connect those things. You're like, oh, this looks familiar.
Now looking back, I say, as a child, I felt the familiarity of being in that place that I had been in lifetimes before. And now again, when driving into the driveway of Wildwind, feeling that welcoming was again, I've been here before. This is familiar to me. I am meant to be here. That would be the connection. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now you connected from dot 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Good job. You scored. I was like, hey, don't be too hard on yourself. We cannot connect because this is a random question from nowhere. I had total different way of how I want to go to this podcast, but I actually, they always show me different route. So now we connect from the 1 to 10. Now we all know that through our teenage, then we get into the workforce, a lot of things. We went into a deep human experience, get really human.
Yeah.
get really sticky and heavy.
Right.
And I want to kind of, you maybe touch on those choices. Now you look back, it's like you know that you could do better. However, that time you did your best. Like what are one or two, and how you find yourself back. Because the point is, a lot of time we make a choice, right? We get ourselves lost, but we get ourselves lost is for ourselves to find ourselves back. So those are the moments I would like you to share, because it's very important.
I was 18 and married early.
No judgment there.
No. 2 children.
At 18?
No, I did not. I did not have to get married. I married. I hadn't graduated high school. I don't know.
So what made you to marry this?
Pressure from the family.
From your family?
My mother, yes, wanted to have that because she was afraid. She was afraid of the relationship becoming adult relationship, which then brought the sexuality, which then brought the opportunity for getting pregnant and all those types of things. I understand now, but at that time I was so in that mindset of wanting, not being in my own power, that I accepted that, although I was terrified and really not really in control of this decision. So I followed through with it. I was married, and at 22, after years of difficult relationship, bordering on abusive, if not, I think in some people's minds it would have been considered that. I made the choice to leave, and it was huge for me.
Oh yeah,
to make that decision. I had been studying voice, which I have done my whole life, and I was working with a coach, and that was giving me the feedback that I was getting from these people that I was working with was such an affirmation to me. I started going out and doing performances, and that was building my self-esteem, building my belief in myself, and that's where I had the opportunity then to say I need to stand alone. So I moved to Philadelphia. I land a job at the #1 rock station in Philadelphia. I am a newly divorced, angry young woman, and life is going to be on my terms. My girlfriends called me man-eater because I was not going to be the victim again. But in that was an imbalance. Of course, there was an imbalance. And it took years to learn that opportunity to learn to how to love yourself and recognize who you really are without all of the garb of the wounds and the angers and the resentments. But that was a turning point in my life. My music was so important to me, and it carried me through that, thankfully. It carried me through that. It also created pitfalls for me because that's a world filled with opportunities to get crazy.
Yeah.
And I did. And I enjoyed it for a while. And then I had to move, right? I found myself looking for something more spiritual. It was always there.
What made you feel like you're like, okay, I know what it feels like to taste in this industry or territory? What is the turning point? You're like, enough is enough? Because we always, that's its choice point again. Because sometimes we make choice, it's to the point you like, enough is enough. Like, I had enough. But I had
gotten too crazy. I had gotten involved in the world of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Let's face the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
And in that truth, I had to make a decision. So then I got turned the other way. I had a moment where I sat there and I cried. I walked into a church, always a church. A friend said, come with me. And I walked into this church in the center of Philadelphia, and while everybody else was singing and holding hands in this circle, I am sobbing like a child. And it was a catharsis for me to say, who am I? Let me try to save myself.
Exactly.
And so I went from that crazy life, I shut the door on it, literally, and I got into bodybuilding. And I got into taking care of my body, and I was just doing all the right things, and but
So is that in your 20s, right?
Mhm.
Still in your
in
20s?
my 20s.
Yes.
But emotionally and spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
I was still in the dark. I was still wounded. I was still in the dark because I hadn't come to that full expression. I was doing something physically, outwardly, to say I was better
Yeah.
and I was getting better, but I still had so much work to do. Right?
See, that's universe will show you, right? When we talk about choices, it's universe actually bring in these situations, experience to help you to grow and help you to make the choices over and over.
Yeah.
Not saying, oh, this time you make similar choices, then a harder lesson shows. It's like, are you gonna choose differently this time?
Yes.
Because that's actually the question we're gonna get into. Because at this point, you are focusing on, at least you are focusing on physical now.
Right.
Not like allow it totally just get lost or get
Just continue.
sucked into this whatever that society that time in that industry whatsoever, right? Now to bring down the industry is serve for the purpose,
Right.
and then we gotta have discernment, right?
Right.
If you're not strong enough, be ready to get lost. Seriously. So it's like if you do not know how to swim, you go to the ocean. Be careful, you're gonna drown.
Right.
That's basically. So from there, you were doing actually physical, just healing, of realize that hey, it's not healthy for me, or whatever the term you think it doesn't serve me anymore.
Right.
Then what are the next one? The choice of like, or emotionally or spiritually, because right?
Yeah, that's where I met that little Indian man at the bus stop.
Yeah, we'll tell this story a little bit because
Yes, okay.
I think I heard one and a half time.
One and a half or maybe
yes.
two.
So
maybe
for the spiritual part, right? I do not know, maybe.
Yeah,
but every time.
This was where the spiritual awakening began, or the communication.
How old
Okay.
were you?
28.
Okay. See, numbers to me is very important.
Yeah.
I like to know the numbers.
So at 28,
Yes.
I'm closing up the beauty shop that I have been managing, and I walk to the bus stop. It is now 9:30 in the evening, and a little man comes up to me, and he's got a flannel shirt on, and he's on a cane, and he's kind of hobbling, and he goes, and he's obviously from India, and he speaks with an accent, and he says, "Oh, do you have the time?" And I said, I look up at the bank clock, which happened to be right in the same building that the radio station I used to work at was, right?
Wow.
And the salon that I work at is on Rittenhouse Square around the other side. So I'm in the same community. And I say, "Oh yeah, look up at the clock, it's 9:30.
Yes.
And he says, "Oh, much later than I thought." He says, "I was with friends and I was translating a book." And I said, "Oh," knowing I love literature, it perked my curiosity. "What kind of book were you translating?" We were translating a book about God. And I went, "God, wow," and then he said, we never introduced ourselves. He says, "Andrea, God has appointed this night for you to hear that God is love. Love is all there is. And if you live with love, you live with God." And I, at that moment, felt that I had just entered an alternate universe. And the bus came, and we got on the bus, and the lights were bright, and the people on the bus were grinning from ear to ear, and the bus driver even turned around and smiled, and I'm thinking, what is happening right now? And this man continues to talk, and he's talking, and I don't remember another word that he said to me. And as he's getting off the bus, I'm looking at him, and I want to go with him. I feel this absolute desperate need to go with him. But I know I can't because my children are at home, and I go, it dawns on me, I said, they come in the meekest of guises. The angel. He's an angel. Oh my God, I just got visited by an angel. Oh, and the woman across from me is smiling, and I'm going, wow. I'm just
you got all the angels visiting you.
Yes,
huh?
and I'm in euphoria. I get off the bus when I finally, he gets off around University of Penn, and I continue on, and I get off, and I live up a little hill in my little brownstone that I'm renting. I'm leaping. It's December, and it's cold, and the stars are like crackling in the sky, and the air is just, I never felt so alive.
What was going on in your life that time? Because I want to give the audience
I thought life was good.
Okay.
I thought I was finally settling into a rhythm.
Yes.
I had a good job. I loved what I did. My children were settled in their school and they were doing well. We finally had stability. We had a lot of instability with the divorce and the difficulty of the relationship between the father and myself. So coming to this place where I had just had my family in for Christmas and it was wonderful.
Yes.
And then I had a little bit of time off, and when I went back to work, my employer told me she didn't need me anymore. So my job fell away. I had done such a beautiful Christmas because we had not been able to do that before. And so I was not prepared to be without a job. So we lost our home. I lost my children. I had to give them to my husband who lived in New Jersey, because where I needed to live was I was trying to do one of those homestead deals and buy a house for $1, fix it up, and then flip it.
Yeah.
So here I am in this terrible place, not fit for anybody to live in, and I'm having to live there, and I couldn't put my children there. In that moment of sitting there with my brand new dog that I had gotten for my birthday and this beautiful Himalayan cat, I'm going to end my life. I am a complete failure. I don't know why God would come and tell me something. I don't know. I don't even know if I remembered the feeling of that night. I just felt complete and utter failure, and I wanted to alleviate the world of my energy. Because growing up as a child, I always felt that I was a black spot on everything and everyone. So this was an opportunity, was a choice. This was a crossroads of where I needed to, where I was at the time. So I called my brother in Baltimore and I said, I've got a dog and a cat and I need help because can you help me? And he said he didn't recognize who it was on the phone. That's how depressed and I wasn't myself. He came up. He said, don't go and don't do anything. Don't go anywhere. And he came up and he rescued me along with the rest of my family and flew myself and my children out to Arizona.
What is your takeaway from because it literally happened before the serial, like you get fired, the suicidal attempt or thoughts. Now when you look back, do you see why this event, the beautiful angel visiting, happened before that? What, help us to connect a little bit. Do you have any?
I do. I feel that, and I say God, and I understand that God is an energy, and it is my higher self. But that beautiful being has always placed things in my path prior to these big lessons in order to anchor me and to keep that faith, even if I don't feel it right in that moment, because I had a plan. I had a plan.
Yeah.
I knew how I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I just needed somebody to take care of that dog and that cat. Now, if I hadn't had that dog and that cat,
You're gone.
What would have happened? That knee-jerk reaction could have happened spontaneously. I had nothing to care about. My children were gone, but I still had these two little beings I needed to care for. A year and a half later in Arizona, again, messy life, involved with someone too quickly, end up pregnant with my third daughter, and the most devastating thing that I could ever imagine happened. In the moment of it happening, I dealt, right? You deal with life. You have no choice. You
Which
have
is your
to
daughter,
deal.
right?
Yes, when I lost my daughter in a terrible accident. But the accident wasn't instant trauma. The trauma came from having to make the decision. How can you know that you're making the right decision?
Choice, right?
Choice,
Decision, choice. Like
I remember the surgeon coming to me, the elevator's opening, and he sees me and he just starts crying. He says, "I'm so sorry. I'm a Christian, and normally I get to pray over my patients after I've done the surgery, and I didn't get to pray for her because everything was happening so fast, and I told him, I said, she knew, she had her faith, she had her understanding of, for him, he needed to hear that, and at the time, that's where we were in that Christian faith. She knew Jesus."
How would you describe your daughter?
Nicole Natalia
I love her name.
was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little being. She was loved by everyone but she was so quiet about it. She stood in the background. She stood in everyone's shadow. And my daughter had been in daycare since she was 24 months, so I never got to really know her. And when I was pregnant, I was on bed rest because I had a what do you call that? Placenta previa. I was bleeding at 3 months. I hemorrhaged and I almost lost her. So they put me on bed rest, so I got to stay home. And in those months, I got to know Nicole. And I got to know how much she loved me and how much she respected me when I didn't even understand how to respect myself. She saw something in me I didn't see.
Yes.
She played the viola. I played the violin. She played the viola. She was funny. And she was so excited to become a big sister. Oh my gosh. She was so excited. But every time we went to the ultrasound, Mercy was hiding herself, so we couldn't tell what sex the baby was.
Yes.
Right? She wanted to grow up to be doing daycare like I was doing, and she wanted to create an opportunity where all the empty motels were turned into apartments for single moms with their kids. That was her goal in life. She was a beautiful, beautiful being. She passed at 12 years old. Her casket was filled with her Barbies, all dressed in white, and her dress was white lace. For the proms she wouldn't get to go to, for the wedding she wouldn't get to experience. She was my salvation. Because of her passing, I had the opportunity to make an immense choice to continue to live as a victim and make all the poor choices because of what had happened to me in my life, or become better because her life mattered.
Yes.
And in that choice, it changed the trajectory of my life.
Do you feel that's because you mentioned that she's such a loving soul, that she want to help, right? She want support. The daycare you mentioned, and she want to turn in all this thing to have the, single moms. Do you think that that's also kept you, like, let's say, consciously, unconsciously, you felt like okay, now let me live for my daughter that she didn't get to live.
Yes.
That it actually, on the other way, brought the alignment, aligning you to something even bigger later in the life, because that help you to pull you actually have something to living onto, have something to grab onto the life, instead of the deeper burying the loss of this beautiful being, of course, right? But however, that through the connection of when you were pregnant with your third one, you have the connection with her. You got to know her better than the last 10 years or 11 years with her. Now you know her, know really who she is and what she wants to create or build. And that actually probably, do you think now you look back, is helping you to kind of more and more align? Because we sometimes in our journey we go zigzag pretty far away.
Yeah.
Now through all those series events, you're pulling you back to the center. This is probably another big, not say U-turn, but
detour,
right, to the highway.
Yes, I used to say that to my kids. Stay on the path, because even the smallest detour can take a long time to correct. A long time. It might just be a little bump, but it'll take a long time to bring you back to your
We
path.
all sometimes take a detour, right? On the something. Oh, I think this way gonna go fast, and then you realize you're already like 25 miles out there.
I'm not living who I am. I don't even know. I don't even recognize where I am or how I got here. But this is not who I am, and I need to get back. And sometimes making that correction is difficult. It's painful. It's hard. It's hard. But the person that I became is no resemblance of the person that I was. And I give all of that to my daughter, and the experience of going through that loss with her. Over the years, as we talked about before, it didn't come easily. I didn't just wake up and make that decision.
Yes.
I was broken. I was devastated. I was incapable of making decisions for the evening. In the morning, I would have panic attacks about getting dressed and ready for dinner at 6 o'clock. I was just in pieces. I saw myself fly out in pieces after she left, and made that choice, crying for help, crying for someone to save me, and no one was coming. No one was coming. And I heard it. No one is coming. Build your life back, brick by brick. And so that exercise, that experience, that voice was the turning point where I recognized this. I have to make a different choice. I have to make a different choice. I cannot allow life to happen to me anymore. I have to be intentional. Did I do it perfectly at that point? No. Am I doing it perfectly now? No.
However, we sharpen our awareness, right?
We sharpen it, and the lessons get easier, and they get easier, and they get easier, because I'm not blinding myself to what I should be doing or what I should be listening to here. I am facing my shadows. I'm facing those areas of my life that may still feel wounded, and recognizing my power in that moment and what I can choose differently. And so it's growing me, and it's growing me. Yeah. Okay. To the point where now I feel that affirmation in so many beautiful people and so many beautiful experiences now are my mirror.
Yes.
Where it used to be pain is not pain anymore. I am so grateful for the beautiful life I live and the joy that I get to experience every day.
Yes.
I know people are hurting. I know people still feel wounded, and my heart understands that, and I have compassion, and I have overwhelming compassion for that. But I also have overwhelming gratitude that I am in the place where I am, that I can offer that solid foundation for someone else to stand on with me.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to kind of circle back a little bit, because I know, that your loved ones, for how it doesn't really matter how they left, how they exit. The point is they actually activated you deep inside to take the back to on the. I would say this, like, we're not talking about this so past or whatever. It's like you back to your alignment, more close to what you meant to come to this world to do, right?
Yeah.
And however, from there to the person who you are today, still have certain serious choices that you course correction. Not like this big, course correction, but the small ones. How you slowly, kind of, but surely, back to this center point. So from the journey after your second daughter passed away till right now, if you look back, what are certain people or certain events really helped you, shaped you for who you are, to be aligned with your, not saying fully aligned with ourselves, because if we fully allow ourselves, we're probably already gone to a different dimension, right?
Right.
So we're still sharpening. However, to arrive this space, this place, this timeline, there are certain people, I feel like there are certain people helped a lot. Is there somebody that you, like, in your mind is, this person gave me the hardest lesson, but also helped me to bring me back to this center point, like, put back to the highway. Maybe I'm on the freeway right now. Before the back roads, right? Like a rural, like back road, country roads. You do the back roads, and then you do the freeway to the highway.
Yeah, at one point I wasn't even on a road.
That's why I didn't get it back that too. I was like, let's just give the perspective. Hey, there are different roads we get on, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, there were times when I wish I had a horse rather than a car, because those wheels weren't moving on that terrain. Oh my gosh. Yeah. When I think back, I mean, I have to thank all my ex-husbands for their patience and their experiences with me, because I learned so much.
How many exes?
3.
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
3. We'll stop there.
Yeah, we will tell us a little bit more. Not to get into details of each one of them, but I think you shared the part is that all your exes, they showed up in your wedding.
Yes.
I think that's because now, in older days, or even right now, when people get divorced, usually
They don't
80-90% is, you are now in my life. If I don't hate you, already the great things I could ever do. Not talking about, hey, you are back into my wedding, and all 3 of them.
Yeah.
No, me and my ex at good point right now, but that's also very rare right now when I look back, because my mother project on me, my sister-in-law project on me, and whoever is like, why are you even doing that? Why are you still not satisfied? Whatever their projection. However, I know what I gotta do, and I think to my ex that he really on board with me. At first, he was not, but I understand, the anger, resentment, whatever. It is painful. It's hard. But however, we transform this relationship from, it could be other people, right? To the point is like, you are doing you, I do mine. We just, we don't need to get it together, and we fight for the kids. This holiday be me, this holiday be with you, whatsoever. We are co-parenting, really conscious communication, which I was really, but have 3. Just a different level, sister.
It has been a journey. It has been an adventure. In that experience, at my daughter's wedding, there were 4 of my important exes at the wedding, and each one played a role in making it a beautiful day. And at first, one of my exes said, "Oh, you got us all here, your harem, let's take a photo." And I was mortified, honestly, when I first thought about it. And then, they insisted, we got the picture taken. Now, do they all feel the same level of joy being around me? I'm sure not. I'm sure there are still resentments. I'm sure there are still wounds. Let's be real.
Exactly.
But that we could come together for my daughter and everybody find the humor in it,
Yes.
I thought was pretty impressive. And I said, well, I'm giving Zsa Zsa Gabor, who was an old actress who was married like 8-9 times, I said, I'm giving her a run. I'm competing. I'm giving her a run for her money.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to be true, but it was a way for me to release the embarrassment, the judgment, the self-judgment I had about an old paradigm that doesn't really work anymore. In life, we can come together for a reason. We can come together for a season, but we don't necessarily have to stay together for a lifetime.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
That's, yes, when we went to when you divorce, you need to go to the class.
Yeah.
And I think that's also the one of the moments I look into my ex's eyes, like we met for a reason. We stay for a season. Now we apart. We're going to be in each other's life for the lifetime because we have kids together.
Right.
So how you want to do it?
Yeah.
It's your choice. It's a
Exactly.
choice. So I want to get back. This question might be really hard because I do not know how you're going to answer it, but I feel called to ask. It's because I have one, right, ex, and I hope I only have one ex because I love him so much. However, what do you think, what they see inside of you that they could come to the point is come to the wedding, all of them, to wish you, to bless you?
I only ever wanted the best for them. I didn't always project that because, when you're in conflict, things get ugly.
Exactly.
But I never wanted harm to any of them. And I would hope that would have been the reason why they all felt they wanted to continue the connection, that they saw something more in me than the anger and the conflict that we became.
Yes.
I saw more in them than just the conflict. And each one of them had a beauty. Each one of them had a wound.
Exactly.
If we can't get over our wounds together, then we wound each other.
Wow.
But that doesn't.
Yeah.
I
You see
still
that?
love every
Yes.
one of them.
Yes.
There isn't one of them that I don't feel compassion and wishfulness. That wishfulness that we could have grown together.
Yes.
Because each one brought something wonderful.
Each one helped you to. I would say not. I'm not gonna use a line. I feel like each one help you to get back to remember who you really are.
Yeah, and
They
some of them,
activate you.
some of them made me forget who I was and become something I wasn't in order to survive that situation. And that wasn't correct. You know what I'm saying? My behaviors weren't correct. But you do the best you can with what you know. If I look back now, I could judge myself very harshly, but there's no point in that because I didn't know better. If I had known better, I would have done better.
And you would not be here.
That's right. I'd have got my wings.
That's all we talk about today is about choices. Is that we could go back to say, hey, 12 years or 18 years over you, right? The first marriage, like, oh, if you couldn't have known that you were not ready, if you said no to that, guess what? You're not going to be today's Andrea.
No.
And then when you go to 20, in your 20s, when you decide, enough is enough, what if you kept going on?
I know.
You might not gonna be here anymore.
Yeah.
Like seriously, life wise, like physical wise.
Right.
And your daughter, that's another one, because we're talking about, even now we can really look back as not in it, as we already go through it. You look at as a movie scene. You are the director and you are the actress,
Yeah.
and you are producer of your own movie. And to the point, I always ask myself why I had to design this way. Do you reach to an aha moment? Is like you look back at your past, it's like, damn, I did this to myself because I want to grow this, that, so I can arrive here. I had this aha moment literally 2 years ago. I was in our old house in the basement in my office, and I remember my hair was up. I still have this video probably. I had my hair up like a bonbon on the top, and I was like, I just had this big aha moment of every single thing in my last 35 years. All of a sudden, they made sense. I was like, holy shit, I did this. I have to go through this to reach to this and this. I was like, so I want to ask when or was, or have you already had this aha moment? It's like, I understand why I need to went through those things.
Yes. I had a skewed idea of what my value was, and because I did not value myself, I could not recognize the actions. I didn't take responsibility for the actions. When I look back now and I go, this was teaching me how to stand in my power. This was teaching me how to recognize who I was. This was teaching me. This one marriage, I became a minister in order to save this person. Did I save this person? No.
Save yourself. Did you?
But I grew. I had the best experiences in my life during that marriage. I created 2 businesses, 3 businesses. I was promoted and had incredible career in medicine, business end of it. I became a minister. I mean, so many beautiful things happened, all because I was trying to save that person.
Yes.
But there was an energy there in that person that said, I believe you can do anything. And because I had that platform, I was diving off and I was experiencing. Was I whole? I still had my brokenness. I still had my wounds and my codependence. But yes, I can see why all of those things happened, and each one gave me strength to the next step and to the next step. Go back to that foundation that I needed to build.
Yes.
Each experience is another brick in that foundation.
Yeah, now we bring to the present time. So we will share with us a little bit of how you make your choice, how you make your decision. Now you arrived where you're at, which is present moment, right? All the choices lead to us to today, but we all know the choices we make today gonna lead to different tomorrow. So, and we learn a lot of lessons from our past, a lot, and on the deep level of that. Now, when certain things happen in your life, will you share a little bit of wisdom of how you make the choice to align yourself better every single, because if you need to make a decision for certain things, which means there always have your choice come out, there are different parallelity, right? How you make your choice to align yourself with your higher self.
Now, since 2020 and the whole lockdown and having that time of solitary confinement, was an opportunity to really work on clearing out the last bits of those, or a lot of the bits of the shadows. But and what I came to the clarity is that I am connected. I am my higher self.
Yes.
I am one with the source of who I am.
Yes.
so that every decision I make is weighted. So that there's balance. My goal is always win-win. My goal is always to be in balance. So how do I stay in balance? Yes, I may have an emotional reaction to something over here, but does that mean I'm going to fly off and make an emotional decision? No. We're going to sit with it. We're going to sit with it, and we're going to weigh it out, and we're going to look at it in the brightness of the daylight of Source, and say, what is of my highest good?
Beautiful. So with that, I want to just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, this podcast, you guys, I'm telling you guys, this is our third attempt. We did an Instagram. No, we're supposed to do a live podcasting last Wednesday because of snowstorm. We did a Instagram live, and I hit the archive button on the new Instagram account, which doesn't even have that button yet for me to go back to get the archive back. This is another story. So today, this is our third attempt. 3, right? That's the universe also teaching us is like choices. When things doesn't happen, are you going to be angry, or are you going to make a different choice, and when the time is ready? And also when we make choice, timing.
What I love is it's all about divine timing.
Divine timing.
And
yes.
we don't worry about it.
Exactly. So I really want to thank you for giving me the opportunity and the learning curve of how to actually save the data on different copy for whatever form it is. So we have camera on, we have recording on, and I think we're good. So thank you so much. And thank you for tuning into Unity Through Diversity. And yes, we're going to release this podcast probably in a couple of weeks when timing is ready.
When it is the right time. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time on Unity Through Diversity.